and gentlemen, if you can please take your seats. We are about to start the proceedings. Reverend Father Charles Hevavasam, our chief guest. Dr. Shivaji Felix, our guest of honor. Reverend Father Bede De Silva, members of the clergy, Reverend sisters, members of the Abeyesundere family, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a very warm welcome to the book launch on the Abeyesundere family of Galle. Today, we launch a remarkable chronicle of family, legacy, and the enduring spirit of the Abeyesundere family. This book is not just a collection of names and dates. It is a living archive, a tapestry woven from stories, struggles, triumphs, and traditions that have shaped generations before us. It reminds us that history is not only found in textbooks or monuments, but in the quiet strength of our ancestors, the laughter around the dinner table, and the values passed down through time. We gather today to honor the author, Dr. Nirmala Pieris, whose dedication and research has gifted us with not just a book, but a bridge to our past and a compass for our future. Through this work, we reconnect with the roots that ground us and the stories that define us, and their achievements left a lasting imprint on the history of Galle. At the heart of this story is Pemiano William Abeyesundere, a respected ship chandler, landowner, and devout Roman Catholic, whose generosity and community spirit made him a true pillar of Galle society. Drawing on archival records, family memories, and careful research, the author has created much more than just a family tree, but a vibrant narrative that revives history and commemorates a family's journey across 9 generations from 1805 to 2025. I understand that this is the first time the family's history has been recorded, which makes it all the more special. To all the family members, friends, guests here today, thank you for being part of this moment. Your presence affirms the importance of remembering, recording, and celebrating the Abeyesundere legacy. On behalf of the author and her family, I sincerely hope you will enjoy the evening and begin the evenings, and I would like to begin the evening's program by requesting all of you to please stand for the national anthem.
Sri Lanka, Namo, 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 Mata. Sundara Sivarini, Surani Ati Sobhamana Lanka. Ranya Ganaya Mekamal Valatulu Idaya Bhumi Ramya.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It is especially meaningful that the parish priest of Our Lady of Lourdes Church, 𝗟𝗚𝗪𝗘, the very church built by William Abeyesundere over a century ago, is with us this evening. And I would like to invite Reverend Father 𝗟𝗚𝗙𝗪𝗓 to lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this day and the opportunity to gather here in your name. We acknowledge your guiding hand in all things and welcome your presence among us. This special occasion, as we launch this book, we pray for the author. We are grateful for the creativity, energy, and effort that has brought it to life. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this book and the hard work that went into creating it. We ask that you bless this launch today, guiding our words and intentions. May this book find its way into the hands and hearts of those who read it, bringing them insight, comfort, or inspiration. Lord, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude for the life and dedicated service of your servant, the late William Abeyesundere. Thank you for the many years of his service and his great generosity and sharing your love in building your church. His work is a testament to your grace, and we give you all the glory for what has been accomplished through him. We surrender this book and its impact into your hands, knowing that you have a plan of it. Thank you for unending love and for being our constant support. In your name we pray, Amen.
Thank you, Father 𝗟𝗚𝗪𝗓. Our first speaker this evening is our guest of honor, Dr. Shivaji Felix, President's Counsel and Attorney at Law of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. As the great-grandson of Bennett Abeyesundere and the great-great-grandson of William Abeyesundere, Dr. Felix represents the continuing legacy of the family we are celebrating here tonight. It is a pleasure to invite him to share a few words. Dr. Felix.
Reverend Fathers, Reverend Sisters, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Nirmala, for your kind invitation, for which I am most grateful. Dr. Nirmala Pieris is a direct descendant Nirmala Pieris is a direct descendant of William Abeyesundere and is a scientist by training. She is an anthropologist by choice. She is very enterprising and takes a great interest in scientific and general creative literature. She undertook her degree in chemistry at the University of Colombo and followed this by a PhD at the same university. This was followed with postdoctoral research at the University of London. Nirmala's work is about Abeyesundere of Galle. It is a fascinating and challenging enterprise about Chevalier Pemmiano William Abeyesundere and his spouse Donna Juana Eliade de Costa, their ancestors, descendants, and family. Ascendants, descendants, and family. This work traces a 220-year history of the Abeyesundere family of Galle, and the pivotal attention is on William Abeyesundere, who was a respected ship chandelier, landowner, and philanthropist. Many of those present today are descendants of William Abeyesundere and his wife Juana de Costa. This challenging work weaves together archival research, family records, and oral histories to present a detailed account of heritage and community. Mr. 𝗟𝗓𝗓, who was known to many of us, was the last surviving grandson of William Abeyesundere. He too passed away about 12 or 13 years ago. Chevalier William Abeyesundere and his spouse, his parents, Henry Abeyesundere and Natalia Vijayvikrama Gunawardena, his children and grandchildren have all died many years ago. There are now 9 generations of the family, and it is challenging to identify these people. What is exciting is the fact that for generations, the Abeyesunderes of Galle have been continuing to do wonderful things in Sri Lanka and all over the world. It is a tribute to the author to be engaged in this initiative. The author's work is analytical in nature and examines the Abeyesunderes of Galle in a historical and comparative setting. Her work examines the evolution of the spelling of the family in English, whilst the Sinhala name remains constant. This is demonstrated by the road named by the family in Kaluvella, Galle, currently in Sinhala, Tamil, and English. The evolution of the Abeyesundere name can be seen at the various burial sites over the years. It shows the erasure and replacement of the name Abeyesundere in English. It was probably necessary for the simple reason that many others also began to use this name. The variation of the name Abeyesundere with the 4 E's now indicates that you are a descendant of William Abeyesundere of Galle and not somebody else. Extensive research done by the author resulted in uncovering the roots of the family. This involves many visits to the various burial sites of the Abeyesundere family, visits to numerous churches and other locations. She was able to obtain access to various archival information for her extensive work. The study also serves as an invaluable critique of the Abeyesundere family. Dr. Pieris has been able to marshal a wide range of disparate and otherwise inaccessible material for her path-breaking study. The author's work is thematic in nature. The work is well written and carefully researched so as to enable any person interested in the subject to profit from reading it. Although one may not necessarily agree with all the assertions of the author, one will find the work to be stimulating, instructive, rewarding, and thereby making it well worth a read. Although the work is intended to be dipped into rather than read as a whole, it is indeed difficult to put down because it makes such fascinating reading. The work is very careful and thought-provoking study of the Abeyesundere of Galle in a historical and sociological setting, and deserves the serious attention of anyone interested in the subject. It is certainly a work well worth possessing, and I hope you obtain copies of this book. I thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Felix, for your kind words and for giving us a fascinating glimpse into the family's history. Our next speaker this evening is our chief guest, Reverend Father 𝗟𝗓𝗓. Father Charles served as Vicar General of Galle for 10 years, from 2013 to 2023, and now serves as the parish priest and administrator of the National Shrine of Christ the Healer in Valigama. He has had a warm and enduring connection with the Abeyesundere family over the years. And please join me in welcoming Reverend Father 𝗟𝗓𝗓.
Good evening to everybody. Guest of honor, Dr. Sivaji Felix, President's Council, the author, Dr. Nirmala Marina Pieris, scientist by training and storyteller at heart, Reverend Father Bede and Reverend Fathers, Reverend Sisters, members of Abeyesundere family, ladies and gentlemen. I am humbled by the invitation from Dr. Nirmala Pieris to present this tribute from the Diocese of Galle to the Abeyesundere family. When reflecting on the rich history of the Diocese of Galle, it is fitting to pay homage to the Abeyesundere family for their outstanding contribution to the growth and strengthening of the Catholic faith in southern Sri Lanka. The legacy is deeply woven into both the spiritual and structural development of the Church in this region. To understand their role, it is worth revisiting the early ecclesiastical history of then Ceylon. In 1887, the Catholic Church was formally established in Sri Lanka, with Colombo elevated to an archdiocese overseeing the suffragan dioceses of Jaffna and Kandy. In 1893, the southern and Sabaragamuwa provinces were separated from Colombo to form the Diocese of Galle, entrusted to the Belgium Jesuit province. This marked a new chapter in the Church's history in southern Sri Lanka. The growth of the diocese depended not only on clergy, but also on the dedication, commitment, and generosity of the Catholic laity. Among these families, the Abeyesundere family stands out. Across generations, their faithful service helped shape the spiritual landscape of the diocese, leaving an inspiring legacy. At the center of this story is Pimiano William Abeyesundere, born in 1837 to 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓 Mohandiramge Abraham Silva Abeyesundere Gunawardena and Kotubenda Mohandiramge Natalia Vijayavikrama Gunawardena. A respected ship chandler, landowner and public servant, William combined civic leadership with a devotion to the church. His marriage to Joanna Elisa de Costa in 1857 began a family whose influence would echo for generations. As Muhupu church warden of the Cathedral of Our Lady of Holy Rosary in Galle, William played a vital role in the church daily activities and moments of great importance. When Reverend Father Benito Martin, OSB, the Spanish Benedictine, who completed the cathedral, died, William personally arranged to bring his body back to Galle for burial inside the cathedral. Excuse me. Later, when the Vatican appointed Reverend Joseph Van Reeth, Jesuit, as the first Bishop of Galle, William organized his travel and a solemn reception showing deep reverence for the Church's mission. Pope Leo XIII honored William in 1898 with the knighthood of St. Gregory the Great, bestowing the title Chevalier for his exceptional commitment. William also served on the Galle Municipal Council from 1887 to 1899, representing 𝗟𝗓𝗪 ward with the same dedication he showed to the church. In 1898, William built a church dedicated to Our Lady of Lourdes on a hill in 𝗟𝗪𝗪 within his estate, gifting the church and the land to the Diocese of Galle. The church was consecrated by Bishop Van Reeth and remains a spiritual landmark. William's grandson, Vincent Abeyesundere, later added a grotto near a natural spring adorned with the statue of Our Lady of Lourdes, a tranquil place for prayer to this day. William passed away later that year and was buried in a tomb within the church, a testament to the esteem in which he was held by the Catholic community. His children and grandchildren continued his mission. His son, Fred Abeyesundere, with his wife Lucy and her brother, Simon Sirimana, supported the establishment of the Anglo-Vancouver School and the Sacred Heart Church in Kurundugaha, Elpitiya. Fred was also responsible for the construction of St. Lucia's Church in Caterpillar in memory of Lucy, his wife. He donated property at Temples Road, 𝗟𝗪𝗪 to fund St. Mary's Cathedral and finance the Chevalier Abeyesundere ward at the Van Reeth Home for Elders, managed by the Sisters of Charity. Fred passed away in 1945 and was buried in the Catholic section of the Dadaila Cemetery in Galle, leaving a legacy as generous as his father. The legacy continued through Fred's brother, Bernard Abeyesundere's son, Elmo, who built a chapel for workers at Talgaswell Estate, located in the Galle district. The chapel evolved into Sri Lanka's only church dedicated to Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta. The church remains under family care, with Elmo's son, Shiran, recently completing a full renovation in honor of his parents' commitment. The Abeyesundere family's contribution went beyond material support to deeply influence the church's spiritual life. Caroline Abeyesundere, William's daughter, married Abraham Ellis. Their son, Theodore Neddy Ellis, became a devoted priest of the diocese. Father Neddy Ellis served as parish priest of 𝗟𝗟 and rector of St. Servatius College. Together with Father Joseph Rajapaksa, he rekindled Marian devotion, leading to 𝗟𝗟 Church's recognition as the national shrine of Our Lady of 𝗟𝗟. Father Neddy Ellis was appointed the Vicar General of the Galle Diocese in 1953. While being a devout and exemplary servant of the Church, he had a special devotion to his mother Caroline, and he considered himself most fortunate that he was able to administer the last sacraments to her on her deathbed. Personally, I had the privilege of knowing Monsignor Neddy Ellis, who was my mentor and spiritual director. His guidance profoundly shaped my faith and that of many others in the community. Monsignor Neddy Ellis entered his heavenly home on the 5th October 1980, leaving a legacy of devoted priestly service. The history of the Diocese of Galle reminds us that its strength lies in the partnership between clergy and laity. The Abeyesundere family exemplifies this sacred bond through their collaboration, generosity, and shared faith, enriching the diocese for over a century. Their contributions, material, spiritual, and pastoral, and woven into the very fabric of the diocese. They gave freely of their time, land, resources, and love for the Church, shaping a lasting legacy of faith in southern Sri Lanka. I offer these reflections in deep gratitude to Abeyesundere family, and I invite you all to rise and pay our tribute by observing a minute silence. Please be seated. My thanks to Abeyesundere family members who continue to gather at 𝗟𝗟𝗘 to celebrate the annual feast of Our Lady of Lourdes and pay tribute to William Abeyesundere, who passed away in 1898 and was laid to rest at the cemetery. Dr. Nirmala Marina Pieris, thank you for inviting me to share my experiences of the Abeyesundere family and help. The book Abeyesundere Family of Galle will be an valuable document of the archives of the Diocese of Galle. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Father Charles, for your heartfelt words and reflections on the Abeyesundere family. Your thoughts have given us new insights into family history, and we deeply appreciate the warmth and sincerity with which you spoke. And now, we have the pleasure of hearing from the author herself, Dr. Nirmala Pieris, who will introduce her book, The Abeyesundere Family of Galle. You need to stand there because you can't see your face.
click කරන්න ඕනේ. Reverend Father Charles, Reverend Father B. De Silva, Sivaji Felix, Dr. Sivaji Felix, members of the Abeyesundere family, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I was asked to stand on this pedestal. My son says they can't see your face. Okay, so here I am, and I'm very happy to introduce you to this book on the Abeyesundere family of Galle. Now, lots of people ask me why I wrote this book. There has to be a reason, of course, for writing a book. And really, a few years ago, we had quite a few Abeyesundere get-togethers. And I was in the organizing committee of 3 of them. There were 4 get-togethers. And at all these get-togethers, people only talk about William Abeyesundere. But they don't know from where he has come or what he has done or anything like that. So I was quite keen, actually, to find out what had happened to this Abeyesundere family long years ago. And also because my, I jumped the gun as always. Also because my maternal grandmother, Millicent Abeyesundere, was the daughter of the wealthy racehorse owner Fred Abeyesundere. So I was really interested to find out more details about this family and collect sufficient information to put together this book which is in your hands today. Okay, here you are. Sorry. This is Fred Abeyesundere, as you can see, and his daughter Millicent Abeyesundere, who was my grandmother. And that was the interest that I had in this family. Okay, so what I knew about him, William Abeyesundere as well as Pemmiano Abeyesundere, is what all of you knew about him. That Fred Abeyesundere was the daughter of Pemmiano William Abeyesundere. Abeyesunderes were well-known personalities in Galle. William was a ship chandler. He had built a church, Our Lady of Lourdes, at 𝗟𝗩𝗘 in Baddegama. And then William had also been invested with a knighthood by the Pope and attained the title of Chevalier. So he was known as Chevalier William Abeyesundere. And we also knew, most of you knew, that there was a road in Galle called Abeyesundere Mawatha. I think that's about all what most of us knew and what I knew. So I thought I will just carry out some research on this. Of course, I was very much encouraged by my husband, Mevan Pieris, who had also written a book about his ancestry a few years ago. And I thought, if he can write a book, why not me? So the initial findings that I found was in a book that was lying at home, The 20th Century Impressions of Ceylon. You must be knowing this book, written by Arnold Wright in 1907. There were extracts of people who were, I don't know if you call them distinguished or whatever, well known. And there was this section on Fred Abeyesundere. So I was quite intrigued. I got the book out, and it was difficult to turn the pages also because it's a very old book. And then I found that William Abeyesundere was the father of Fred Abeyesundere as titled in this book. So that was now known. Then in 1993, Nora Roberts wrote this book, Galle as Quiet as Asleep. I'm sure most of you would have seen this book. And in this book, she identified William as the earliest documented member of the Abeyesundere family. Then in the late 1990s, Christialis, a grandson of William Abeyesundere, had prepared a family chart which was made available to me by his daughter Pam Curre. And in this chart, I also identified William's wife as Dona Joana Eliada de Costa. And he identified 8 of his children. 8 of his children, but in no real order. He just identified some names and brought them down to about 5 generations. Then in 2005, there was this chart prepared by Jeff Felix, who is Sivaji's father, and in that he identified the parents of William Abeyesundere as Henry Abeyesundere and Natalia Vijayavikrama Gunawardena. And he also identified many other descendants up to about 5 generations. So this is the information that I started off with, but I was more interested in getting some references to whatever had been mentioned. I suppose the scientist I am, I always need references to whatever we have to say. So the Abeyesundere family story I found has never been told. It's all these little excerpts from here and there that are available, that there is no fully documented story on the Abeyesunderes. So that alone was good enough encouragement for me. So what I first looked at is, I think what Sivaji also mentioned, the name Abeyesundere. You know, it was spelled in various ways, and I didn't know which one was correct. They were spelling with E's and A's, and it's a difficult name to spell. So this is what I looked at first, the evolution of the name of Abeyesundere. Then chapter 1, I thought, can be the uncovering of the roots where the story really began. Then chapter 2, I wanted to dedicate to William Abeyesundere, the architect of our legacy, and the next chapters to his children. I didn't even know who the children were, other than Fred Abeyesundere, a little bit mentioned about Bennett Abeyesundere, and Lavinia Abeyesundere. Other than that, I didn't know how many children he had. Then, of course, I also traced the Abeyesundere genealogy, which I thought was an interesting thing to see how they are existing today. Now the information gathering. After having thought about the book, I wanted to see how I can gather the information. No mean task, because nobody knew anything much about the Abeyesunderes. So I started with my visit to Galle in about the 20th of January last year, and the first contact I had was given to me by Shalini Abeyesundere, I think, who's in the audience today. She went with me to Galle, and she introduced me to places and people that I had never met before. One of them was Father 𝗟𝗓𝗪, who was the parish priest of the 𝗟𝗪𝗘 church. And he is a historian himself. So that was a good lead for me. And he was also very interested in the Abeyesunderes. And he, I think, loved William Abeyesundere because he talked only about William Abeyesundere. But I needed more than that. So we went ahead, visited churches, cemeteries, schools, historical landmarks to collect the baseline information. This I did over a course of about maybe 10 or 12 visits to Galle and maybe around 1.5 years. Then, of course, the National Archives in Colombo. We have the Director General here, Mrs. Nadira Rupasinghe. That is a treasure trove of information if you are looking at history of any family or anything like that. So the first thing that I looked at was the Dutch tombos. The tombos were written by the Dutch, but it was not easy to understand. They are all in Dutch. It was double Dutch to me because I didn't know anything about anything on Dutch. Then, of course, there are the palm leaf manuscripts. They are called in Sinhala the 𝗟𝗟𝗪𝗘. They are all papers bound together with a string, and Harsha is the one who helped me with that because it's impossible to read it. It's all in the Sinhala Val Akuru. We can't read Val Akuru. We can read Sinhala Akuru, but Val Akuru was difficult. But anyway, got through that as well and looked at so many directories that are available at the archives, civil lists, Catholic messengers, and various newspapers. Now, this was not just one visit. Almost every morning, I spent at the National Archives going through all these documents and the books and things like that. And it was an interesting journey, no doubt, because sometimes, some days I found information and other days I never found any information. So the Dutch tombos did not have any information about the Abeyesunderes. The 𝗟𝗟𝗪𝗘 had something a little bit, but I couldn't really connect to our family. Then the church records and St. Mary's Church in Galle. This was a treasure trove of information because the records were available for baptismal, marriage, and burial. And this is from 1854 to 1949. You can well imagine the number of record books that we had to go through. And I must thank Father 𝗟𝗪𝗪 again, who sat with me every day when I was going through these archival records. And we sometimes worked from morning till evening, just eating a maspang or something in the afternoon, because there was so much work to get through and we didn't have so much time. So this gave us a lot of information on death, birth, and marriage records of the various 𝗟𝗡sundaras in the family and also the other related relatives. Then another interesting place that I walked through was the cemetery. There are 3 cemeteries in Galle: the Dadalla cemetery, the cemetery at Our Lady of Lourdes Church in 𝗟𝗡𝗙, and the cemetery at St. Mary's Cathedral in Galle. Now the Dadalla cemetery, it was only Fred 𝗟𝗡sundara's gravestone that was standing. Everything else was on the floor, demolished with the tsunami. So you had to look at the ground and look at to see if there are any 𝗟𝗡sundaras there. And of course, William 𝗟𝗡sundara's thing stood tall. Dadalla cemetery was not very large, so it was difficult to, not so difficult to get through that in a day or two. The other 2 cemeteries in Galle were also quite small, so we could get through those easily. But the cemetery at 𝗟𝗓𝗃 is, I don't know if you know, the Catholic section of the cemetery at 𝗟𝗓𝗃 is 13 acres. So there's a whole lot to walk through, you know, all amongst the dead. But interesting, because all the gravestones give the date of birth, the date of death, and of course the relationships, like father of whom, mother of whom, son of, brother of. So that was another huge amount of information that I collected, but again over a large number of days. I can remember one day when I went there just after the rains, the grass was about that height. And the cemetery keeper with whom I was walking all through the cemetery, he told me, "Miss Mehenang endepa sarapa innawa." So, but no sarapaya came near me. I think they knew that I was 𝗟𝗡sundara. So anyway, everything was made interesting with this type of little things that happen, you know, about all. Then there's also a family search website, which gives quite a lot of historical information. It's online. And of course, I met almost every 𝗟𝗡sundara descendant that is sitting here today. I talked to all of them. I interviewed all of them. Then I visited the older people whom I could not talk on the phone or on WhatsApp or email. I visited them in their homes, some in elders' homes, some who could not remember anything, some who remembered everything, and they had lots of pictures to share. And all those 𝗟𝗡sundaras who were living overseas also I managed to contact to get whatever information I could. So now you can see that I gathered all this information, and now I had to start writing the book. So the first thing that I looked at was this Abeyesundere name. Abeyesundere name in the early 80s was written only in Sinhala, and you can't go wrong with that. Look at that spelling, Abeyesundere. But if you go to spell it in English, it's not easy. It has all sorts of spellings. So I looked at this first with the Ferguson Ceylon directories that were available at the Department of National Archives. From 1871 to 1872, the Abeyesundere name was spelled with 4 A's. And this was for William 𝗟𝗡sundara and his sons. So 4 A's there, Abeyesundere. I suppose if you look at the Sinhala word, anyway, sounds correct. Then in 1917, the spelling changed to 2 E's and 2 A's. You can see there, Abeyesundara. So I had to go through every year to see at what year this change took place. In 1922, the spelling evolved to Abeyesundere with 4 E's. And even the name in Galle, the Abeyesundere Mawatha, kept changing their names at A's and E's and you know all sorts of things, but now it's fixed with 4 E's. So all of you 𝗟𝗡sundaras here will have your name with 4 E's. And don't change it again, please, because that's going to be a difficult task. So chapter 1, uncovering the roots. The biggest discovery I made was a church record in 1857. This was a very difficult register to read because it was perished, it was insect infested, and the ink was all smudged on both sides. Father B, do you remember how we looked at that register of 1857? My gosh, spot on. The marriage banns of Pemmiano William 𝗟𝗡sundara was in that particular marriage record. And that was a key point for me to take off from there. And in this marriage record, Pemmiano's parents were specified as 𝗟𝗓 Mohandiramge, Abraham, Silva, Abeyesundere, Gunawardena. What a lot of names. And his mother, Kotubanda Mohandiramge, Natalia Vijay Vikrama Gunawardana. Joanna's parents, that is Pemiano's wife, Joanna's parents, were specified as Hetiage Juan de Costa and Lisida Alas. And the band specified that the marriage was to take place on 12th August 1857 at St. Mary's Church in Galle. Now, that particular marriage record was almost impossible to read. It was Pam Kure, who is unfortunately not here today, who took the trouble. She enlarged the whole thing on some huge TV screen that her son had set up, and she wrote it for me, deciphered it for me, and from there only I got these names. So now we know the earliest ancestors, Yatra Mulla Mohandiramge. The family thus originated from a village of Yatra Mulla local authority. No, born around 1805, that is William Abeyesundera's father was of the Govigama caste and of the Roman Catholic faith. Now all these were specified in that marriage record. The name Silva, I think, likely reflects the ancestral conversion to Catholicism during the Portuguese period. And I also came across William's death record in 1899, where his parents were referred to as Henrik and Natalia Abeyesundere. Now Henrik, I would say, is a shortened form for Henry, which was specified in the chart prepared by Jeff Felix, where he specified the parents of William as Henry Abeyesundere and Natalia Abeyesundere. So I believe in the death record, it came as Henrik, which was a shortened form that was used later as Henry. And since Abraham was used in records, it suggests that both Abraham and Henrik or Henry are both the same person and the father of William Abeyesundere. Now William Abeyesundere is the architect of our legacy. He is the most well-known person in our family, and as I just mentioned to you earlier, he was a ship chandler for the P&O company in Galle and Colombo, and he was very prosperous in this business, and he actually made a large amount of wealth ship chandling for the various ships that docked in the port of Galle, and he owned large extents of land. He actually purchased large extents of land, and the largest extent of his land was a little over 1,000 acres, which he called Fred's Rue. Fred, I think, was his eldest son, and he called it Fred's Rue. And later on in his will, he gave this large land, divided into three, to his three sons, Fred, Bennett, and Samuel. Now he also made several contributions to the Catholic Church in the Diocese of Colombo. As Father Charles just mentioned, one of his biggest donations was an 8-acre block of land to the Catholic Church, where he also built a church, which is called the Our Lady of Lourdes Church at 𝗟𝗡𝗘. And I know that some of you go there every feast day to this church, and it's also very well maintained with finances by the Abeyesundere family. William Abeyesundere was also a member of the Municipal Council of Galle for 13 years straight, uncontested. So you can imagine the standing that he had in Galle. Then his legacy, of course, lives on with various things, roads, old people's home. I'll just show you some pictures later on. And this is the picture at the consecration of the church. This guy who's standing here right in the middle is William Abeyesundere, and these three are his three sons. I don't know if you can see it properly, but Fred, Samuel, and Bennett, and this is the church of Our Lady of Lourdes Church in 2024. You can see how well it's maintained. It was consecrated in 1898, and more than 125 years now, it is very well maintained, mainly by the Abeyesundere family. And this is the inscription of the facade of the church, where William Abeyesundere's name is specified, and this is the memorial tablet. William Abeyesundere is buried inside the church, this church, and near this is the memorial tablet, which gives his chevalier position, and also when he was buried, he dead and was born. So those dates were obtained from this tablet in the church. Now this is a gold shield. I'm showing this to you now. This is a gold shield presented by the Catholics of Galle when William attained the title of Chevalier. Now this is important because, as you know, most of these things get sold and misplaced and it doesn't belong to the family. This shield is still with the family and the owner is seated right there. I can see him, and he has very nicely maintained this gold shield which is encrusted with rubies. So it's a very special thing that the Catholics in Galle gave William Abeyesundere when he was made the Chevalier. Now these are some places connected to the Abeyesundere family. You can see the home for the elders, land donated by the Abeyesundere family, Chevalier Abeyesundere, William Abeyesundere Ward, donated by his son Fred Abeyesundere. Then this is Fred's Rue estate. And this was, I told you, the main estates, and Father Bede even took us there. It was quite a long drive from Galle, and we had to even get into one of the trishaws with Father Bede and travel there, and we found the Fred's Rue estate, which is also shown here. And this is the Abeyesundere Mawata. This connects the main Colombo Galle road to Templars Road in Galle. It still stands nicely with the board in both Sinhala, English and Tamil. And recently, actually, it was spelled wrong. So we took it up with the Galle Municipal Council and they put the correct board. I hope it stands there now. And this is another interesting place, the Abeyesundere Vatta. I don't know if you have heard of that. This was a 60-acre block of land that belonged to William Abeyesundere, which was taken over by President Premadasa for his Gammudava project. So he built a model village here, and the name still stands as Abeyesundere Vatta. There is a school, there are supermarkets, there are playgrounds, various things, and lots of little houses, and this is called Abeyesundere Vatta. Name still stands, spelled in Sinhala, so no issue. So here you are, Pemiano William Abeyesundere and Joanna Eliza de Costa, his wife. They were married in 1857, and they died within 1 year of each other. Joanna died in 1898, and William died in 1899. Now these are the children of William and Joanna Abeyesundere. I know that you can't read this properly, but I just thought I'll show you this chart because this is the type of information we were looking for his children. And the names of the children and order of the children, I was fortunate to see the last will of William Abeyesundere, which was done in 1896. That gave the names of the children and the order in which they were born. So this is credible. The first was Mary and Martha. They were twins. Then came Clara, Caroline, Pieris. I'm sure the Abeyesunders have not even heard of these names. And then came Frederick Emmanuel Abeyesundere, my great-grandfather, quite famous in his own right. Then came Bennett Abeyesundere, Samuel Abeyesundere, the three sons, and then Lavinia Abeyesundere. And also, there were 3 boys and 6 girls in this family of William and Joanna Abeyesundere. So a lot of 9 children of William Abeyesundere. Now these are the data that I found. You can see the dates of birth, death, marriage, which I found from the church records and the cemetery records and also from the archival records. Now Mary, the first-born child of William Abeyesundere, was a twin with Martha. She got married to a De Rosairo. I forgot to tell you that of the 9 children of William Abeyesundere, all the girls got married to Alasas, Kandappas, De Rosairos of the Colombo Chetty family. But all the 3 boys got married to Sinhala families. Now Mary Abeyesundere got married to a De Rosairo who was from Mudliya De Rosairo from Calpentine, which is now called Kalpitia. But unfortunately, Mary Abeyesundere died at childbirth. She was only 18 years old. And the child lived, called Ida Matilda, and this child was taken over by the grandparents, naturally. The first granddaughter and the mother had died. So this Ida Matilda also, they got married very young. I think you all know that. Those days they got married very young. Ida Matilda also got married at a very young age. She got married to Francis Eugene Allis. And they, believe it or not, had 14 children. Interesting, isn't it? How many of us can boast of that type of children these days? So out of the 14, 4 died when they were young, and 10 children survived. You can see the 10 children. We could find some of the dates of birth and death, and it was no mean task following up on this family, because we went right down to 8 generations, and here alone there were 10 children. Now, just to give you an idea of Ida Matilda, this is Ida Matilda and her husband Francis Eugene Alice. There are 3 eldest children, and these are the 10 children of Ida Matilda. You can see 7 beautiful ladies and 3 boys. Quite a nice, interesting family, and we have descendants of that family here, lots of them, because you can imagine 10 of them, and all lots of descendants here. Then we go to Mata Abeyesundere, which is the other twin. But here, unfortunately, I could not find much information. She also got married to a DaCosta, and she had only one child, Clement, and he entered the seminary, and he died very young, and I think the whole line got wiped out with that, and that may be the reason that I couldn't find anything. Then the next child, Clara. Now I'm not going down generations. It is not, I don't have enough time, but I'm just telling you about William Abeyesundere's children. But the whole book is about the descendants of all these people that we're talking about, going down to the 8th generation. This is only the 3rd generation of the family. Now, Clara Abeyesundere, the 3rd child, got married to a DaCosta, and he was the brother of her elder sister's husband. And the youngest of them went on to becoming a nun, Sister Gabriel. Now, this is her family, the DaCosta family, Cyriline DaCosta, Paul DaCosta, Emmeline DaCosta, Marceline DaCosta, and Eva DaCosta, who became a nun. Then the next child, Caroline Abeyesundere, got married to an Alice. She had 5 children: Mary Alice, Joseph Alice, Eustace Alice, Aloysius Alice, and Neddy Alice. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, only 2 of them got married. So I had to only follow up on 2 of them. That is Mary Alice, who got married to a James 𝗟𝗜𝗚, and interestingly, they had 5 daughters. None of them got married, and they were called the 5 virgins of 𝗟𝗓𝗪. And most of them were teaching at St. Aloysius College in Galle. So quite a landmark, I must say. Then of these, Father Neddy Alice, that Father Charles also just spoke about, he was born posthumously. His father had died 2 or 3 months before he was born. And Father Neddy entered the priesthood and became the Vicar General of the Diocese of Galle, and his contributions to the church were recognized by Rome, by the Pope, and he was elevated to the title of Monsignor cum Domestic Prelate in 1965. That is a position just below the position of the bishop. And if you got married any time between the late 1960s or 1970s, I'm sure he would have officiated at your wedding, like he did at ours. Monsignor Neddy Alice, I think most of us know him, because he would have come down to Colombo to officiate at your wedding. This is him. In his young days, he was determined to enter the priesthood, but his mother was not very happy about it, because her sister's son, Clement, who entered the priest seminary, had died. So he was not happy with Neddy going to the priesthood, but he somehow or other convinced his mother, and he became Monsignor Neddy Alice, as you can see the picture there. Then Pieris Abeyesundere, also not much information. She got married to a Kandappa, and they had 2 children, Josephine and Solomon. And they lived in Kumalwalla. Kumalwalla was a village that William and Joanna also lived as soon as they got married. So some connection to Kumalwalla. And actually I could not find more information about them, because the thing is, if they do not have descendants coming right down to about the 6th generation, I have no contacts, unless I could have found something in the church or the cemetery. So Pieris Abeyesundere was a bit vague for me. Then comes Frederick Emmanuel Abeyesundere, the person whom I'm really proud of from the Abeyesunderes, my great-grandfather. He was the 6th child and the eldest son of William and Joanna. He joined his father in the ship chandler business, and of course, he made quite a fortune from that. And he also owned large extents of land in the southern province. What I could reference through was about 4,000 acres of land that he owned in the southern province. But I really believe he owned a lot more than that, but I couldn't find any references, and I'm not adding anything here where I can't find references. In 1899, he entered the horse racing arena, and here he flourished. He had lots of horses. During his horse racing career, he owned over 50 horses, all imported from Arabian countries, England, Australia, various, and the first race he took part, his horse won. So that was enough incentive for him. He bought more and more horses, took part in more and more races, and in all of them he won. And he was also a member of the Galle Municipal Council, just like his father, who was there for 13 years. He was a municipal council for 12 years. So both father and son ruled the Galle Municipal Council for 25 years straight. Undoubtedly, I would call him the master spirit of the family. Here is Fred Abeyesundere with his horses and few of the cups that he won. He owned stables in Colombo and Galle, and these are few of the cups that he won: the Roberts Cup, the Galle Gymkhana Club, the I can't even remember now, the Lawyers Cup, and the Roberts Cup is the largest cup. Now all these cups are still in the family. That is what I'm happy about. All his silver cups he gave his 3 sons. He won a whole lot more, but a few are still remaining with the family. And this is the Roberts Cup. Owner is here today, and that cup is about 2 feet tall. These are just little pictures, so you see them as small, but they are really very large cups, and they are very well maintained and very well preserved, and within the Abeyesundere family. This is Lucy Nirmala, his wife. They got married in 1892, and in 1921, Fred purchased a 5-acre block of land in Colombo on Bagatale Road, in prime property in land, and he built the house called the Manor. I'll just show you the pictures in a little while. Now that is Fred and Lucy Abeyesundere's children. I have all the information for them: birth, death, marriage for him and their children and their wives, spouses. So he had 12 children. Again, 4 of them died, but these are the 8 that are there. Grace Jayatillaka, Grace Abeyesundere, Christy Abeyesundere, Ernie Abeyesundere, Vicky Abeyesundere, Millicent Abeyesundere, who was my grandmother, Pearl Abeyesundere, Letitia Abeyesundere, and Irene Abeyesundere. That was Fred's family, large family, so obviously he had to have a large house to house them. This is the family picture, Fred and Lucy. This is Grace, eldest. She got married to EGP Jayatillaka, who became the Chief Justice of Ceylon. And these are the this is Vicky Abeyesundere, Christy Abeyesundere, Ernie Abeyesundere, and the 5 daughters. This picture was taken around about 1918. Now these are the 2 houses that he owned. This is the Villa Lucilla in Galle, which borders the sea, and there is a huge area like a garden, and then it is the sea, because there is no beach in this sea. It's all rocks. And this is the manor, the house that he built in Colombo, and you can see him like dots with his horses and the horse keepers. The manor is the only Abeyesundere home that is in existence at the moment in this country. This has changed hands several times, and now it is a boutique hotel, beautifully maintained, and keeping the old structure. The old floors are all there, and the old structure is there, and this is one of the Abeyesundere homes. Now this is just a picture of children and grandchildren taken during Christmas time at the Manor Gardens, and I believe that Christmas was a time that Fred Abeyesundere got all his children and grandchildren to the Manor in Colombo. So there was a whole lot of people, and this was one of the pictures, but this is after Fred passed away, one of the Christmas parties that they had. Then the 7th child, Bennett Joseph Abeyesundere, the 2nd child and the 7th child in the family. He established Fred's True estate, even though Fred's True was given to all 3 of his sons. Bennett Abeyesundere was named as the superintendent of the estate by William Abeyesundere, and he established this as a tea plantation. It was earlier coconut, citronella and tea, but he established this as a tea plantation, and he was recognized as a pioneer Sinhalese planter, and in 1893 he got married to Caroline de Silva. Now that is Bennett and Caroline Abeyesundere's children. Interesting again, because he had 7 sons and 1 daughter. The daughter's son is here, and sons, of all the sons, grandchildren, I see some of them here. And they were Vincent Abeyesundere, Elian Abeyesundere, Gerald Abeyesundere, Sivaji's great-grandfather, Lionel Abeyesundere, Titus Abeyesundere, I see Titus's great-granddaughter also here, Nasil. Then we had May Abeyesundere, the only girl in the family, and Noel Abeyesundere, who died quite young. Now, I love these pictures, and I thought I must show it to you, obtained from the family. This was the young one when there were only 5 children. And here you can see the entire family with the parents. The 7 sons and 1 daughter May, and this is the youngest son and all the other sons. I'm happy that at that time they took pictures like this, because very few families took pictures of the entire family. Now, this was happy, but there was a tragic turn of events in this family. In October 1918, the Bombay fever was spreading rapidly in Galle. In mid-October, Caroline was infected with the fever and was hospitalized. 3 days after, her husband, Bennett Abeyesundere, caught the fever and he was hospitalized. But when he was hospitalized, he did not know that his wife had already passed away. So that was sad. And all the children, other than 2, also got the Bombay fever. But they recovered, and both Bennett and Caroline passed away, very young, at the age of 46 and 48. The children's ages range from 24 to 9. And the only girl, May, was just 11 years old. So all the 8 children were orphaned at a very young age. The oldest, Vincent Abeyesundere, took hold of the estates, and all the other sons went on to qualifying professionally, and they did very well in life. I think it was Caroline's brother who took over the children and guided them in their adulthood. Then we have lots of children, so I'm sorry, there's a lot of... This is another picture of Bennett and Caroline Abeyesundere, but no Bennett and no Caroline. Only the children, the 8 children. And this has also 2 wives and 2 grandsons, but this is 1926, the 8 children. I really love these pictures of these 8 children, the 7 sons, and the 1 daughter. Then we have the 3rd son, the youngest son of William and Joanna Abeyesundere, Samuel John Christopher Abeyesundere. He was also educated at Royal College. Now, records have, even in William's last will, the record is that he was studying at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, wanting to do a medical degree. But I never could find a record saying that he had finished his degree. So I suppose he returned to Sri Lanka after he did not finish his degree, and he returned to Sri Lanka, and he took hold of his estate, which was Shredsrue Block A, and in 1912 he married Mabel Samaravikrama of the well-known Samaravikrama family. Now this is Samuel and Mabel Abeyesundere. They did not produce as much as the other Abeyesunderes. They had only 3 children. So I suppose coming down the line, they are gradually weaning off on the children as well. And he had just 3 children, Cecil Abeyesundere, Rienzi Abeyesundere, and 1 daughter, Esme Abeyesundere. These are their pictures. This is Samuel and Esme when they got married, and this is their family picture. Now, you can imagine whoever kept these pictures have kept them so well, because this tells a story. Even if looking at the picture, it tells a story. So I don't want to tell any more about that. Then we come to the last of the family, Maria Lavinia Abeyesundere, better known as Lavinia Abeyesundere, the youngest in the family. We have grandchildren of Lavinia Abeyesundere here, and she was younger, and she was 1 year younger than her oldest sister's daughter, Ida Matilda. So you can imagine the age gap. When the daughter was having a child, William Abeyesundere's wife was also having a child. So it was very close. And this is Lavinia and Francis. She got married to Francis Alice, and this is their family. 6 children, Reggie Alice, Stanley Alice, Christy Alice, who went on to becoming a Supreme Court judge, Clement Alice, who lived the longest of the Abeyesunderes. He was 100 plus when he died a few years ago. Then we have Galle, who was named Astelia, the only girl in the family, and Michael Alice. So that's about all that I have to tell about William's children, but I'm talking only mainly about the 3rd generation of this family, and up to the 9th generation of the family you will find in the book, which you will understand why I don't have time to go through. But just to, this is Lavinia and Francis Alice and their family, also lovely pictures of the family. See how well dressed they are even for a picture. Nowadays you just come in a t-shirt and take a picture. It was not like that those days. All fully dressed in suit and tie and beautiful pictures. Now just to end this on a happy note, I'm showing you some weddings of things that happened long years ago. This is a wedding of Marceline de Costa and Lilian Rajapaksa in 1919, more than 100 years ago. And look at their group, large groups. The maids, all of about the same size, little maids, and the bride carrying a huge bouquet of flowers. I am not sure if they wore a dress or a sari, but it's nice to see this. And this wedding happened at the New Oriental Hotel in Galle. Then this is Ernie Abeyesundere and Gertie De Silva wedding in 1933 in Katana. In Katana. Here again you see a lot of the Abeyesundere family in the group, and this is different, you know, even their headdresses I thought were quite different to what we use today. And this is another picture of Vicky Abeyesundere and Adeline De Silva. 1926 happened in Colombo. This again, all are very happy wedding pictures which are unique in their own way and not to what type of weddings that we see today. So I think that's about, this is another picture of Titus Abeyesundere and Naomi Dasanayaka, also in the early 1920s. And that's about all I have to say about the book, and just an introduction to the book, which is only a little percentage of what is in the book. Lastly is the Abeyesundere genealogy chart that you will see at the end of the book. You will not be able to read it unless you find a magnifying glass or a microscope, because they're all very small, but I didn't want to fold the pictures because the book bulges out and it doesn't look very nice. But you will see that there is a barcode given here, and you just scan the barcode and you can see everything very large. So these Abeyesunderes now at the moment are still in the 7th generation. Abeyesunderes, you are still in the 7th generation, whereas everyone else has now gone to the 9th generation. So in the 7th generation we have about 24 Abeyesunderes. I think they better hurry up and get the Abeyesundere family going. So that's about all that I have to say about the Abeyesunderes. This book I have dedicated to my parents, Reggie and Catherine Gunatilaka. They are the ones who taught me the value of family. They taught me the power of perseverance. Without the power of perseverance, I couldn't have finished this book. And they also taught me the grace of humility. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you enjoy reading the book. Thank you.
That was a very inspirational presentation by the author, and I'm sure that you will all enjoy reading all the stories in the book. A few formalities now as we move on to the presentation of a few complimentary copies of the book. And I would like to invite the author, Dr. Nirmala Pieris, to kindly present a copy to each of the following distinguished individuals. Our chief guest, Reverend Father Charles Hevawasam. Our guest of honor, Dr. Shivaji Felix. Reverend Father Bede De Silva. The husband of the author, Mr. Mevan Pieris. The editor of the book, Mrs. Dilmani Varnasurya. The eldest brother of the author, Dr. Gamini Gunatilaka. And the youngest brother of the author, Professor Ravi Gunatilaka. And in heartfelt appreciation of the dedication and efforts invested in creating this remarkable book, I would like to call upon Mrs. Marialis Fernando, the great-granddaughter of William Abeyesundere, to present one of her paintings to the author, Dr. Nirmala Pieris, as a token of gratitude. And finally, to draw an end to the day's proceedings, I would like to call upon Dilani Yatavaka, the daughter of the author, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Members of the clergy, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great happiness that I stand before you to deliver the vote of thanks at the launch of my mother's book, The Abeyesundere Family of Galle. It is not often children witness both their parents authoring books on family history, and to that extent, my brother and I are truly blessed to have both our parents document such legacies. Today, the spotlight is on my mother, and having known her all my life, I knew when my dad launched his book a few years ago, it was a matter of time before my mom would follow through and inch herself to be on par. Behind every successful woman stands a man, constantly encouraging and guiding her, and no doubt this was my dad, to whom she owes a deep sense of gratitude. Our heartfelt thanks go to Reverend Father 𝗟𝗓𝗓, our chief guest, who has traveled all the way from Mathura to be with us today. Father, thank you for accepting our invitation and for your presence at this event as we celebrate and honor the Abeyesundere family, a family that has been very close to you. Our sincere gratitude also goes to Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗘, our guest of honor, for sharing your insights and knowledge about the Abeyesundere family, a family you belong to and know so well. Your words added great depth and meaning to today's occasion. A very special thank you to Reverend Father 𝗟𝗡𝗩 de Silva. We are deeply grateful for the guidance, encouragement, and wealth of knowledge and information you so generously shared with my mother. Your kindness and constant support during her visits to Galle meant a great deal to her and to our whole family. You have also traveled all the way from Galle, bringing with you many of the Reverend Fathers from Galle. This is very nice of you. Thank you, Fathers. To my mother's dearest friend Dilmani, Varnasurya, you have been her pillar of strength from the very beginning. It's like Jadia to Moodia, I've known you all my life. You not only supported her through every stage of this project, but also painstakingly edited the manuscript, working tirelessly until the very end. This book is as much your achievement as it is hers, and we are truly grateful to you. Special thanks. Special thanks also goes out to Hiranthi Fernando, Auntie Dilmani's sister, who supported the valued task of proofreading, committing her time and effort. To all members of the Abeyesundere family, thank you for your cooperation, encouragement, and for so generously sharing information and material. Without your support, it would have been almost impossible to complete this project within just 1.5 years. We also extend our thanks to Sumit, Henry, and Tharindu of Printer Private Limited for your excellent work in designing and printing the book. Our appreciation also goes to Rukshan for your expertise in editing the photographs. At times it was impossible. Rashmi, I saw her somewhere in the audience, for the meaningful cover design, and Roshani and Devni for your impressive work in creating the Abeyesundere genealogical chart. A sincere note of appreciation to our very own acclaimed artist, Marialis Fernando, great-granddaughter of William Abeyesundere, for generously acknowledging the author's contribution to the family by gifting her a beautiful painting. To the staff of the Sri Lanka Foundation Institution, press, photographers, videographer, and other support staff, thank you for carrying out your duties to perfection. To our family and friends who have helped and supported this exercise in some way or other, be it a word of encouragement, relieving the author's stress, helping with today's proceedings, or any other manner too many to mention, thank you for being there and your willingness to help. Last but not least, to the author of this illustrious book, it is fitting to acknowledge the hard work you have put in to document a rich and interesting legacy, opening the doors to our heritage, one which no doubt will create a tapestry of connections, long lost and which were never known until now to most of us in the younger generations. I know the relentless hours you have put into this project, traveling to various homes near and far, churches, archives, institutions, cemeteries, and connecting with people all across the globe. No doubt as much as enjoyment it brought to you, we are fortunate to now have this wealth of information available at our fingertips. Last, but certainly not least, a big thank you to all of you gathered here today. Some of you have come from distant miles across the seas, and for taking the time to join us in celebrating the Abeyesundere family of Galle. As we come to the end of today's proceedings, let me invite you all to please stay on, mingle and get to know each other over refreshments which will be served at the restaurant just outside to the left of this hall. Those who have pre-ordered your books can collect it from the counter to my left at the back, and those who wish to purchase books can do so at the counter on the right. And should you wish to have it autographed by the author, she will be around. Thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Yes, I am 𝗟𝗜𝗙𝗘, the son of 𝗟𝗜𝗙𝗘 and May Victorine Abeyesundere. I am 90, coming on to 93. I am in Maryland, close to Washington, D.C., and I have lived in this house for 45 years. Nirmala had quite a distinguished career in the university. She got a good examination result in a final degree exam, and she introduced the Abeyesunderes to the academic field, which was a great thing. I think that the book will supply a void. And of course, Nirmala is one of the, I hate to use the word educated Abeyesunderes, because they were self-educated and they made a contribution to the country, even though they didn't have degrees and all that kind of thing. Two of my mother's brothers were doctors. One was a doctor and two were lawyers. So they managed to find a niche in the fabric of the country. I wish Nirmala well, and I hope her book is a success, as she deserves that it be.
Hi, I'm Shiranti from Ohio, USA. I am the granddaughter of Samuel Abeyesundere and the daughter of 𝗟𝗜𝗙𝗘 Pieris. My grandmother, Mabel Abeyesundere, has told me so many stories about our family, and it would be really nice to see it in writing and in pictures. I didn't realize that we had so many relatives. I'm looking forward to reading the book. Bye.
Hello, this is Alan DeCosta, and I'm speaking from my home in Cairns on the invitation of Nirmala, who has just published this marvelous work on the genealogy of the Abeyesundere family. And I thought I would just speak about one individual in my family history, my grandfather Paul, who was part of that great Abeyesundere clan. And Paul was a great gambler, and he loved horses, and horse racing being his passion, he placed a bet for a double on the 1928 𝗟𝗓𝗡 stakes, on which he won a fortune. And he proceeded to buy some remarkable things, and I will just show them to you briefly. He had Mappin and Webb in London make a whole lot of stuff, including a 36-piece dinner set. And these are just what remains of some of them. I have given much of this to my family, and on each item is the family crest engraved. Nil sine domine, nothing without divine light. And here's another wonderful piece of furniture, again made by Mappin and Webb, which is a drinks cabinet, also with the crest on it. One of the things he also did was he gave my mother, Rowan, and his daughter-in-law, a wonderful amethyst necklace set in silver, which I'm pleased to say is still in the family. And that is a picture which features in a book I have recently written on historical fiction, which has a lot to do with Galle. We must remember that we are the products of a great heritage, and each of us have had a set of parents, 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 great-great-grandparents, and so on. The progression is exponential. So there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are deeply interested in what we are and what we have achieved. Just because the dead are invisible does not mean that they are absent. And we are grateful for what we have achieved in all. Hello. This is 𝗟𝗓𝗘, and I'm speaking from my home in Cairns on the invitation of Nirmala, who has just published this marvelous work on the genealogy of the Abeyesundere family. And I thought I would just speak about one individual in my family history, my grandfather Paul, who was part of that great Abeyesundere clan. And Paul was a great gambler, and he loved horses, and horse racing being his passion, he placed a bet for a double on the 1928 𝗟𝗓𝗡 stakes, on which he won a fortune. And he proceeded to buy some remarkable things, and I will just show them to you briefly. He had Mappin and Webb in London make a whole lot of stuff, including a 36-piece dinner set. And these are just what remains of some of them. I have given much of this to my family, and on each item is the family crest engraved. Nil sine domine, nothing without divine light. And here's another wonderful piece of furniture, again made by Mappin and Webb, which is a drinks cabinet, also with the crest on it. One of the things he also did was he gave my mother, Rowan, and his daughter-in-law, a wonderful amethyst necklace set in silver, which I'm pleased to say is still in the family. And that is a picture which features in a book I have recently written on historical fiction, which has a lot to do with Galle. We must remember that we are the products of a great heritage, and each of us have had a set of parents, 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 great-great-grandparents, and so on. The progression is exponential. So there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are deeply interested in what we are and what we have achieved. Just because the dead are invisible does not mean that they are absent. And we are grateful for what we have achieved what we have received in terms of genetics, but also in terms of culture, of values, of traditions, and in fact behaviors. So congratulations, Nirmala, for a wonderful effort in producing this anthology.
Hello, Nirmala. We haven't seen each other for many moons, but this is Lalit, your cousin, beaming in more than 10,000 miles away, or as you might say, 15,000 kilometers across the globe, from sunny California to beautiful Sri Lanka. First and foremost, on behalf of my sisters Shireen, Dashi and Ishani and our entire family, I want to send you a massive heartfelt thank you for the incredible, truly heroic task you have undertaken in compiling this ancestry book. What you set out to do is nothing short of remarkable and maybe just a little bit magical. We know this hasn't been a walk in the park. From what we've heard, you spent countless hours researching, traveling to churches, towns and even cemeteries from Galle to every corner of Sri Lanka, gathering threads of our shared history. You've been like a one-woman expedition team armed with curiosity and a notebook. Your dedication is breathing life into legacy that many of us hold dear but may never have had the chance to fully appreciate. Even though we haven't seen the book yet, I am certain it will open floodgates for me and my siblings for a wave of cherished memories of our childhoods, of time spent with our beloved grandmother, and of laughter and stories shared with Uncles Willie, Neville and Barney, and Auntie Yvonne and all our cousins, neighborhood friends, and of course not forgetting our faithful Ayah Engo and all others who served during those unforgettable formative years of our time at the manor. We truly wish we could be there with you today, celebrating this beautiful moment with all our relatives, including those who couldn't make it. And I know without a doubt that my mother and my father are smiling from heaven, filled with pride and gratitude for this monumental effort you've undertaken. Thank you, Nirmala, for preserving our heritage, for connecting generations, and for reminding us that our family story is not just telling, it's worth celebrating. May God bless you and your family abundantly. With love and admiration and a big virtual hug, Nirmala, till our paths cross again. Thank you very much again. Bye for now.
Hi, Abeyesundere cousins and relatives from near and far. My name is Shantini, and some of you will remember me by my nickname, Noki. I'm the daughter of Joe and Eileen Abeyesundere and granddaughter of Vicky and Ada Abeyesundere. And learning how to spell, I still remember very clearly how my mother taught me how to spell our name. She said, first do Abe, A-B-E, then yes, Y-E-S. After that, under, U-N-D-E-R, and add an E at the very end. So that's how I learned how to spell Abeyesundere. Anyways, I wanted to say a big thank you to Nirmala, who undertook this colossal task of pulling all the information into one place so that the future generations will be aware of our family history. Thank you so much, Nirmala. I appreciate it, and I look forward to meeting most of you, if possible, someday when we get together. Bye.
Nirmala, congratulations on the launch of your book, The Abeyesundere Family of God. We are so fortunate to have the talents of a great writer and eminent scientist who was willing to undertake this colossal project. Until now, the lives and accomplishments of the Abeyesundere family, as well as their history, were limited to stories that were related to us by our fathers, mothers, and grandparents. Nirmala, due to your meticulous and thorough analysis that often required investigation into a volume of information, you have managed to record this history of the Abeyesundere family. This truly is a feat that has never been accomplished. I am disappointed that I cannot attend the launch of this great masterpiece. However, I am looking forward to reading all about the Abeyesundere family of God.
Your name is?
My name is Ivan.
Your father's name was?
Christy.
And your grandfather's name was? Fred. Okay. Hi everyone, I am Melina, Ivan's daughter. My grandfather was Christy and my great-grandfather Fred Abeyesundere. Mum grew up in the manor at Bagatelle Road, and she moved in there when she was a child in about 1945. The house, the manor, was built by Fred in the 1920s. I too lived at the manor while my parents built their house in the 70s in what was the stables of the manor. I would like to congratulate Nirmala for putting together the book on the Abeyesundere family of Galle. She has done a lot of hard work and research putting this book together. I think it will be a great inspiration for the future generations of the Abeyesundere family. Hope you all enjoy this book launch today. I'm sorry I can't be with you. Bye.
Hi everybody, my name is Claudine Abeyesundere. I'm staying in France for the moment but residing in Belgium. And actually, to tell you the truth, I'm very jealous of all of you now sitting there, all the Abeyesundere descendants and families, to celebrate the launching of the book of the Abeyesundere of Galle, thanks to our cousin Nirmala and Pieris. So, my parents, Martha Willems, who is Belgium, and my father, Herkie Abeyesundere, they met in London while they were studying there. And then they moved to Belgium to get married and went back for a couple of years to Sri Lanka. And then at that moment, my father decided to go back, to settle back in Belgium for the sake of his children's education. I'm very, very grateful that my parents kept all the Sri Lankan stories alive and passed it on to us, and that my children, Naomi and Galle, they are very, very proud of their Sri Lankan roots. And finally, I'd really like to thank Nirmala for letting me contribute my modest little part to the book. And I want to thank her for her years of research and finalizing and publishing this book. What a great moment, a historical moment for all the Abeyesunders come through, made possible by Nirmala, by our author, Abeyesundere author, Nirmala and Pieris. Finally, I'd like to just say that I hope you have a lovely, enjoyable evening, and all the best from France from my husband Peter and myself. Au revoir.
Congratulations to my sister on her book launch. I suspect this won't be the only book you launch. I cannot wait for the next one, the biography of my brother 𝗟𝗜𝗩𝗘. I know that book will be very inspirational, and that book will make a movie deal. In fact, I can see Shah Rukh Khan as me. In all seriousness, this is your moment and I'm so proud of you. I cannot wait to see your name in the New York Times bestseller in 2026. Cheers to my sister and good luck!
Hi Nirmala. When you first spoke to me about your intentions to write a book about the Abeyesundere family, my first thoughts were, wow, what an excellent idea. As you are aware, most of our elders have passed away, and with them our only source of information about our ancestors, and now I wish we had paid more attention to their stories and comments about our past generations. This book, I am sure, will keep their stories, wisdom and struggles through a different era of life alive for future generations. When things are written, we make sure those memories don't fade or get lost over time like they sometimes tend to do when stories are passed on by word of mouth. Most importantly, it gives younger generations a chance to truly understand and appreciate their roots and feel proud of their heritage. And a written record also allows people to learn at their own pace and refer whenever they want, keeping the connections strong between the past and present. It's also a way of honoring our ancestors and making sure they continue to inspire those who come after us. For example, Sienna here is one of my grandkids, and she just turned 4 years. And one day in the future, she'll be able to open this book and read about her heritage. Finally, Nirmala, we all wish you the best for a successful book launch event. This book is such a wonderful tribute to our ancestors and the legacy they have left behind. May it inspire many readers, especially the younger generations, to appreciate their roots and carry forward the wisdom and strength of those who came before us. Congratulations on bringing on this important piece of our history to life, and may it reach many hearts and be a lasting success.
Hi Nirmala, this is 𝗟𝗜𝗩𝗘 sending greetings to you all from Sydney, Australia. Congratulations on this remarkable achievement in writing a book on the Abeyesundere clan. We hope this book will be cherished by our whole family and many generations to come. We wish you all the best and eagerly wait to receive our copy.
It's all about shared memories, roots and connections that tie us together no matter where we are in the world. This book is more than a mere collection of names and stories, as I understand. It's a celebration of who we are and the values that have shaped our generations. Auntie Nirmala, your dedication has brought our history to life. You've given us something truly, truly priceless, a way to trace back to our roots, and for that we are really, really grateful. To everyone who contributed stories, photos, memories, thank you. Each of you have helped build a lasting legacy that will keep the spirit of the Abeyesundere family alive for years to come. On behalf of the Abeyesundere family, we want to send our heartfelt congratulations and appreciation to Auntie Nirmala for having brought us together as one family and reminded us of our strong and proud lineage. We wish every blessing and celebrate this wonderful milestone with pride. Thank you, Auntie Nirmala, for keeping our story alive. Cheers from the Mary Abeyesundere family. Hopefully, I'll be able to be present in person at the launch. Cheers.
Hi everyone, my name is 𝗟𝗜𝗙𝗘. I am the son of Archie and Bernie 𝗟𝗜𝗙. My mother's maiden name is Bernadette Abeyesundere. She is the daughter of Vincent and Edith Abeyesundere of Fredsrue Estate in 𝗟𝗑𝗩𝗘. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate Nirmala on the extensive research she has done on the ancestry of the Abeyesundere family and for collating that information into a publication, The Abeyesundere Family of Galle. There's a common saying that we will be forgotten after 2 generations. And that is very true. We know our parents and we know our grandparents. And that's 2 generations. Details beyond those generations is very hard to come by. But what Nirmala has done with this publication is that she has overcome those challenges for the Abeyesundere family and for the next generations of Abeyesunderes to know the history and ancestry of this family. I am privileged to be part of it. Thank you very much and have a good and excellent book launch. Thank you.